Thank you and good morning. I'm Darin Labrenz, President and CEO of Pure Gold. I will be making some forward-looking statements, so I'll caution you on that. So I'm about to talk about the Madsen Red Lake Gold Deposit. We've gone through a number of milestones this year. In January, we updated our mineral resource such that we have 2.1 million ounces at just under 9 grams per ton indicated resource, 500 million ounces of inferred at 8 grams per ton. We completed a definitive feasibility study. We completed a project financing package such that we're fully funded for production today. And in August, we initiated construction at the Madsen Red Lake Gold Mine. And we anticipate first gold pour in Q4 of next year. But what I want to do today is give you a sense of my view and how I see this as really only the beginning and where I see the tremendous upside on the project. So you can see we've got some pretty significant strategic owners of the company, AngloGold Ashanti and Newmont Goldcorp, two senior producers, Eric Sprott, Rob McEwen, two mining titans, if you will. AngloGold holds about 15%. Eric Sprott came into a July financing and he's 10% shareholder, and both Rob McEwen and Newmont Goldcorp are in the 3 to 5% range. So why did those companies and individuals invest? And frankly, it really is for that upside that we see time and time again in brownfield discoveries. And I've given just a few examples up top here. Red Lake Mine, I was chief geologist at the Campbell Mine, part of the Red Lake Mine complex in 1995. Across the fence was Rob McEwen's Goldcorp mine, and they were producing 54,000 ounces at 8 grams per ton. In 1996, they discovered the high-grade zone, and you can see what happened. It went to 552,000 ounces at 77 grams from the same mill. And that's the kind of transformative discovery that gets me really excited. Kirkland, Macassa Mine and Foster Mine are both great examples. Fosterville in particular, you can look at 82,000 ounces of production, 2007. Several companies, effectively broke their pick on that asset. And then when they started drilling the Swan Zone deep, it transformed it such that this year they've got guidance of 570,000 to 610,000 ounces on that asset, deep down. And Kirkland's become a $12 billion company from those two brownfield assets. So where do we see that? Well, what we're looking at here is a cutaway in the Red Lake camp. On the right side, you see Newmont Goldcorp's Red Lake Mine. And on the left, you see our Madsen Red Lake deposit. And really, they're the same structure, the same rocks, the same age, same time of mineralization. The only difference really is that on the right side, they're mining at a depth of 2.6 kilometers below surface. And our deposit today has been defined down to a depth of about 1.3 kilometers below surface. So if we zoom in on Madsen and look at a plan map here, we're projecting mineralization to surface, and you can see a real pronounced southwest to northeast orientation, or bottom to top. And that's the structural control of mineralization at the Madsen Red Lake Mine. And so once we unraveled that structural control, we were able to step south and continue to follow that deposit to the south and make new discoveries. Such that today we've established mineralization across a 7-kilometer footprint. So what I'll do on the next image here is flip it up, and we'll do a cross-section through the earth, if you will, a long section, looking along that structural control to show you a sense of the scale and where we see opportunities. So again, this is a 7-kilometer long section that we're looking at here. And really the feasibility study in our mine plan that we're constructing today is really focused around Madsen number 2 shaft. Mineralization you see to the left of that is extensions of the deposit that we continue to work on with a view of ultimately bringing them into a future mine plan. But you can see a collection of drill holes that we've highlighted across this 7-kilometer footprint that highlight the open nature of the deposit. On the left side, in what we call wedge, PG 18564, nearly 20 grams over 3.3 meters at a depth of 300 meters below surface. We drilled below a historic Starrett shaft. We got 11 meters of 34 grams, 200 meters below any past mining in that area, now known to be part of the same deposit. The base of our reserve is highlighted by hole 456, which returned 35 grams over 4.3 meters, and we have a hole drilled 2.1 kilometers below surface that returned 14.3 grams over 2 meters. Importantly, when you look at the core of that deep hole and you lay it out next to where we were test mining last year at a depth of 150 meters below surface, it's the same geology. It has the same look, it's the same mineralization style, and effectively the same grade as the overall deposit. So those deep anchors, if you will, give us a lot of confidence in the potential of this system to extend to depth. So let's just focus in for a moment right on the heart of the deposit. Our reserve is shown in red here. It spans from surface down to 1.3 kilometers below surface. And again, you can see hole 456, really an anchor point to that reserve. What we show in the lighter red color there is a potential extension to depth bracketed by those two holes. There's a kilometer plunge line between those holes. And so when you look at what we have in the red and you consider what's been mined historically and what we have in our current reserves, you're looking at an endowment of about 3,500 ounces per vertical meter. So if you use that math on the next kilometer, there's potential there for the next 3.5 million ounces sitting right below the deposit. And we have strong confirmation based on the history of these types of deposits around the world and based on those two anchor points that we have at the top and bottom of that kilometer span. So we're really excited about getting down there and starting to drill off some of this opportunity. Now it's not something that's easily done from surface. The deeper hole is around a $250,000 hole. But we are in construction. We are putting a ramp in today, and by year 2 or 3 of operation, we'll be down 800 meters. We'll be setting up an exploration drift in the footwall or hanging wall, and we'll start drilling off some of that potential. And that really points to long life of the mine. I want to highlight something else as well. I talked a little bit about the discovery at the Red Lake Mine and the high-grade zone there, how it transformed that operation. The initial discovery occurred at a depth of about 1,400 meters below surface. And it occurred in a mine that had been operating for 50 continuous years, which really suggests the opportunity that we see there. Our Madsen Red Lake deposit also has a high-grade zone. It's on this map highlighted as the 8th zone, and I've just called out some of the historical drilling that went into the 8th zone. Forms part of our reserve today. 4.3 meters at 466 grams, 5.5 at 342, 8.2 at 120, 1.8 at 674. So you can see the very high-grade nature of that part of the deposit. It sits in the exact same geologic environment as the high-grade zone in our neighbor 20 kilometers to the north. And when we acquired this asset, we did something really simple. We pointed the 8th zone up to surface, and we started drilling in an area that's labeled here Russet South. And again, I show some highlights in there in terms of grade. Russet South, Fork, and Wedge on this map are not currently incorporated in our mine plan. There are areas we continue to drill, looking to grow resources, and we see them as an opportunity for near-surface expansion of the mine plan in the early years of operation. So we're going to look at a cross-section B prime there between the high-grade 8 zone at depth and Russet South at surface. And you can see a hole labeled there 667. We drilled that about a month and a half ago. We released the results 2 weeks ago. And it's a really exciting development. We've got 10 meters of very strong alteration, the same blue-gray quartz veins we see in both Russet South and the 8 zone at depth. It sits 750 meters above the 8 zone, about 400 meters below our Russet South resource. We got 10 meters that ran 2.2 grams, 20 occurrences of visible gold across that 10 meters, and a 2-meter interval that ran plus 5 grams per ton. Really exciting development for us. It suggests the opportunity for connectivity, and right now we're drilling to a couple of holes, one above that, one below that, to continue to try and establish that connectivity. So it's another geologic environment, if you will, that has real high potential for mineral resource expansion and also ultimately an opportunity to impact the mine plan. I do want to highlight that when you look at our resource, we've got an incredible amount of drilling that's gone into it. We've drilled over 300,000 meters in the last 4 years. Overall, within our reserve, we've got about 1.2 million meters of drilling, which is an incredible number. In the reserve itself, the spacing between drill holes is 6.5 meters. So that gives us a lot of confidence in the resource, both the location of mineralization and the grade itself with that kind of density. And these very high grade deposits, they do require a lot of drilling. And so we're able to leverage that information. I've talked about many of these key metrics. We are in production today. We're delivering into the market with first gold pour in Q4 next year. We're fully funded for production. We've got an $85 million cash balance today, an undrawn debt facility of $55 million US, and you can see a 95 million Canadian initial capital requirement. We think that we're perfectly timed for production and very much leveraged to gold, as you can see in this chart. At somewhere between $1,400 and $1,500 gold price today, we're looking at an after-tax net present value in that $375 million range. It'll produce about $800 million in free cash flow and has an internal rate of return of about 50%. So really excited about the stage of development we're in and the upside that we see long term. And I'm going to finish 30 seconds early, and thank you very much.